Welcome to Speak English with Cath. I'm really happy you're here today. Today's topic is very real and maybe a little uncomfortable. Many learners are very disciplined. They track everything. You track your vocabulary. You track your study time. You track how many lessons you finish. But then, when you are in a real conversation, you suddenly feel stuck.
That's exactly me. I have a notebook, I write new words every day. I also use an app to track my study time. Sometimes I study 1 hour, sometimes 2 hours. But when I join a meeting at work, I still feel nervous. My mind goes blank.
Thank you for being honest. That feeling is more common than you think. And today, we are going to understand something very important. Tracking your habits is good, but tracking alone does not build real fluency.
Really? But everyone says be consistent, track your progress.
Yes, consistency is important. But let me ask you a simple question. When you track your English, what exactly are you tracking?
I track how long I study and how many new words I learn. Sometimes I write sentences too.
That sounds very organized, but here is the problem. You are tracking input, not output.
Input, output?
Let me explain in a simple way. Input means what you receive, like listening, reading, learning vocabulary. Output means what you produce, like speaking, answering, reacting. Many learners focus 80% on input, but real-life English, especially at work, requires strong output.
That makes sense. Because when I'm in a meeting, no one asks me to remember vocabulary. They ask me to speak.
Exactly. And that's where the gap appears. You feel productive because you study every day, but when you need to speak, your brain is not trained for that situation.
Yes, I feel that. Sometimes I know the word, but I can't say it at the right time.
That's a very important feeling. Let's look at a real-life situation. Imagine you are in a team meeting. Your manager asks, "Can you share your idea?" What happens in your mind?
Panic. First, I translate in my head, then I try to remember the right words, but everyone is waiting, so I feel pressure. Then I speak very slowly, or sometimes I just say, "It's okay."
Yes, that's exactly the moment we need to train. Not vocabulary lists, not tracking hours. We need to train response moments.
Response moments.
Yes, moments when someone asks you something and you need to reply. For example, "Can you explain this?" "What do you think?" "Do you agree?" These are real communication moments, but most habit tracking systems do not include these.
Oh, that's true. I never practice answering questions. I only study by myself.
And that's why your brain feels slow in real situations, because it is not used to reacting. Let me give you a simple idea. Your brain is like a muscle. If you only read and listen, you build passive strength, but speaking is an active skill. You need to practice using it.
So, even if I study a lot, I may still not be able to speak well.
Yes, that can happen. And it's not because you're not trying, it's because your training method is not complete.
That feels a bit unfair. I work hard every day.
I understand, but here is the good news. You don't need to study more, you just need to study differently.
Differently how?
We shift your focus from tracking how much you study to tracking how often you speak.
Oh, that's very different.
Yes, let's take a simple example. Instead of writing, "I studied English for 60 minutes, you track something like, "I answered 10 questions out loud."
Answered 10 questions out loud. That sounds more practical.
Exactly, because real English is not about time, it's about response ability. Let's try a small practice now. I will ask you a simple work question. You don't need perfect grammar, just answer naturally. Ready?
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. What did you do yesterday at work?
Yesterday I worked on a report. I also had a meeting with my team. We discussed new ideas.
That's good. Simple, clear, real. Now, how did you feel while answering?
Honestly, a little slow. I had to think.
That's normal, but this is exactly the kind of practice you need, not just reading answers, but creating answers.
I see the difference now. When I study vocabulary, I feel smart, but when I answer questions, I feel challenged.
And that challenge is where growth happens. Let's talk about another situation. Imagine your colleague asks, "Can you help me with this task?" What would you say?
Maybe, yes, I can help you. Or, I need some time.
Very good. Now let's make it more natural. You can say, "Sure, I can help. Let me check first." Or, "I can help, but I need a bit more time."
Let me check first. I need a bit more time. Yes, that sounds more natural.
And this is something you can track, not just "I learned phrases, but I practiced saying them."
I like that idea. It feels more useful.
Because it connects directly to real life. Let's be honest for a moment. Many habit trackers give us a good feeling. We see progress bars, we see numbers, and we feel productive.
Yes, I like seeing the numbers.
But fluency is not a number. It's a feeling. It's the feeling that I can respond. Even if your sentence is not perfect, you can still communicate.
That's what I want. I don't want perfect English. I want confident English.
And that's a very good goal. So from today, we start asking a new question. Not "How long did I study?" but "How many times did I speak today?"
How many times did I speak today? That's powerful.
And speaking doesn't mean long conversations. It can be simple. Answering questions, practicing responses, talking to yourself.
Talking to myself?
Yes, that's actually very effective. For example, you can ask yourself, "What am I doing right now?" and answer, "I am recording a podcast. I am learning English."
That feels easy.
Exactly. We start simple, but we make it active. Let's try one more together. I ask, you answer. What are your plans for tomorrow?
Tomorrow I will go to work. I will finish my tasks and maybe I will study English at night.
That's great. Simple, clear, real. Now, imagine if you do this kind of practice every day, not just tracking time, but practicing speaking. How do you think your confidence will change?
I think I will feel more ready because I practice real situations.
Yes, and that's the key idea for today. Tracking habits is not bad, but if you only track passive learning, you build knowledge, not fluency. Fluency comes from using the language, from responding, from speaking, from making small mistakes and continuing.
I feel like I understand my problem now. I was busy, but not practicing the right thing.
And that awareness is the first step. Now we can start building a smarter routine. I feel like I understand my problem now. I was busy, but not practicing the right thing.
And that awareness is the first step. Now we can start building a smarter routine. Let's make it very practical. Right now, your routine is probably like this. You study vocabulary, you read something. Maybe you listen to a podcast. That's good. We keep some of that, but we add something new. We add daily speaking triggers.
Speaking triggers?
Yes, small moments that force you to speak. Not long conversations, just short, real responses. Let me show you. In your day, there are many simple situations. Waking up, going to work, talking to a colleague, finishing a task. Each moment can become a speaking trigger.
So I don't need a special time to practice.
Exactly. You use your real life. For example, in the morning, you can ask yourself, what am I going to do today? And you answer out loud.
Today I will go to work. I will have a meeting. I will finish my report.
Perfect. Now, notice something. You didn't need new vocabulary. You already knew these words. You just needed to use them.
That's true. I always think I need more words, but maybe I need more practice.
That's a very important shift. Many learners wait until they know enough to speak. But speaking is how you activate what you already know.
Activate. I like that word.
Yes. Think of your English like a phone. All the apps are there, but if you don't open them, you can't use them.
That's a very clear example.
Now let's build your new routine step by step.
Not complicated, just simple and repeatable. Step 1. Every day, choose 3 speaking moments.
Only 3?
Yes, keep it small, but do it every day. For example, morning moment, work moment, evening moment.
Okay, that feels possible.
Good. Now, step 2. In each moment, ask yourself one question and answer it out loud. Let's practice together. Morning question: how do I feel today?
Today, I feel a bit tired, but also a little motivated.
That's excellent. Now, let's improve it slightly. You can say, I feel a bit tired, but I'm also motivated.
I feel a bit tired, but I'm also motivated. Yes, that sounds smoother.
Exactly. We are not making it perfect, we are making it clear and natural. Now, let's go to a work situation. Imagine your manager asks, can you give us an update? What happens inside you?
My heart beats fast. I think, what should I say first? And I worry about grammar.
That's very honest. So we prepare a simple structure. You don't need perfect English, you need a simple pattern. Here's a useful structure. First, what you did. Then, what you were doing. Finally, what you will do next.
Oh, that's clear.
Let's try it. Answer the question, can you give us an update?
Okay. First, I finished the report. Now, I'm checking the details. Next, I will send it to the team.
That's excellent. Simple, clear, professional.
I feel more confident when I follow a structure.
Yes, structure reduces stress. Now, here's something important. You can track this kind of practice, not just time, but actions. For example, I practiced 3 speaking moments. I answered 5 questions out loud. I did 2 role-play situations.
That feels more meaningful.
Because it connects directly to your goal. Now let's talk about another common situation. You don't understand something, but you feel shy to ask.
Yes, I often stay quiet.
Let's fix that. Here are some simple sentences. Sorry, can you repeat that? Can you explain that again? I'm not sure I understand.
Can you repeat that? Can you explain that again? These are very useful.
And very natural. Let's practice. I say something fast, you ask for clarification. Ready?
Okay.
Our new strategy is important.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Perfect. Now another one. The client wants some changes in the design.
Can you explain that again?
Very good. Now, how do you feel?
I feel more prepared because I have something to say.
Exactly. Confidence comes from preparation, but not the kind you think. Not memorizing long sentences, but practicing simple responses.
Small but useful.
Yes. Now let's add one more layer. Emotion. In real conversations, you don't just share information, you also share feelings. For example, I'm a bit concerned about this. I feel confident about the plan. I'm not sure if this will work.
Oh, that's interesting. I usually speak very flat.
Yes, many learners do that, but adding feeling makes your English more natural. Let's try. Say, I think this idea is good.
I think this idea is good.
Now add feeling.
I think this idea is really good.
Better. Now one more.
I think this idea is really good and I feel confident about it.
That's excellent. Now your English sounds alive.
Alive. I like that.
So now your new routine is not just about studying, it's about speaking, reacting, expressing.
I feel like this is what I was missing.
And you're not alone. Many learners stay in the safe zone of studying, but growth happens when you step into the active zone.
Active zone. Yes, that's where it feels a bit uncomfortable.
And that's okay, because that discomfort means you're learning something real. Now imagine this. You follow this routine for 1 week. Every day, 3 speaking moments, simple responses, real situations. How do you think your next meeting will feel?
I think I will still feel nervous, but I will not feel empty. I will have something to say.
And that is a big step. Not perfect English, but ready English. And that is what builds real confidence.
And that is what builds real confidence. Not perfect English, but ready English.
Ready English. I really like that idea, because before, I always waited to feel perfect.
But now I see I just need to feel ready enough to respond.
Yes, exactly. Fluency is not about perfection. It's about being able to continue the conversation. Even if you pause, even if you make small mistakes, you don't stop. You keep going.
That's very different from how I used to think. If I made a mistake, I wanted to stop speaking.
That's a very common reaction. But in real communication, people care more about your message than your grammar. Let's explore that feeling a bit more. Imagine you are speaking in a meeting and you make a small mistake. What do you usually do?
I stop and I try to correct myself. Sometimes I forget what I wanted to say.
Yes, that happens a lot. So here is a new habit for you. When you make a small mistake, don't stop, just continue.
Even if it's wrong?
If the message is clear, yes, continue. You can always improve later. But in that moment, communication is more important.
That feels less stressful.
Good. Let's practice this mindset. I'll give you a situation. You respond quickly. Don't worry about mistakes. Ready?
Okay.
Your manager says, "Can you finish this today?"
Yes, I will try to finish today. If not, I will update you.
Good. Simple, clear, responsible. Now another one. Your colleague says, "Do you understand the task?"
I understand most of it, but I need a little help.
Excellent. You didn't stop. You didn't panic. You just communicated.
I feel more relaxed when I don't try to be perfect.
That's the key. Now, let's bring everything together. Before, your routine looked like this: study vocabulary, track time, feel productive. But now, your routine is different. You still learn, but you also use.
Yes, I speak every day now.
Exactly. Let's say your new daily routine out loud.
Okay. Every day, I choose 3 speaking moments. In each moment, I ask myself a question, and I answer out loud. I also practice short work situations.
That's perfect. And now, how do you track your progress?
I track how many times I speak, not just how long I study.
Yes, and this small change creates a big difference because now you are training for real life.
I feel more in control now. Before, I just followed my habit tracker. Now I understand what I'm doing.
That's very important. Awareness gives you direction. Now, let's do one final role play, a full situation. You're in a meeting, your manager asks 3 questions. Answer naturally. Ready?
Ready.
Can you give us an update on your work?
Yes, I finished the main task. Now I'm checking the details. Next, I will send it to the team.
Good. Second question, do you see any problems?
I think there might be a small issue. I'm not fully sure yet, but I will check again.
Very nice. Third question, what support do you need?
I may need some help with the final review. If possible, I would like feedback.
That's excellent. Clear, professional, natural. How do you feel?
I feel good. Not perfect, but I can express my ideas.
And that is real progress. Now, imagine something. 1 month from now, you continue this routine. You speak every day. You practice real situations. What will change?
I think I will speak faster, I will think less about grammar, and I will feel less afraid in meetings.
Yes, and maybe something else. You will start to enjoy speaking.
That sounds nice. Right now, I still feel a bit nervous.
That's okay. Confidence grows step by step, not in one day, but every time you speak, you build a little more.
So the goal is not to be perfect, but to keep going.
Exactly. Keep speaking, keep responding, keep improving little by little. Now, before we close, I want to leave you with one simple question. Not a difficult one, just something to think about today. How many times will I speak English today?
I like that. It's simple but powerful.
And remember, your progress is not measured by how many words you know. It's measured by how often you are willing to use them.
That really changes my mindset.
I'm glad. You don't need a perfect system. You need a real one that connects to your life, your work, your daily conversations.
Thank you, really. I feel like I finally understand why I was stuck. and now I know what to do.
You are very welcome. And to everyone listening, if you've been tracking your habits but still feel stuck when speaking, you're not alone. Just make one small change. Speak a little more, track your speaking, and focus on real communication.
And don't wait to be perfect.
Yes, don't wait. Start with simple sentences. Start today.
We're learning together.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and take care.
See you next time.